I'd say every time I think about or have a thought in my head about, well, I haven't been yelled at for a really long time, I feel like somebody breaks that streak and yells at me.
A lot of times I used to live in Glasgow and they have a lot of taxis, and you just they try and run you off the road all the time, so they just like come super close to you to try and just like push you off.
I think I've been pretty lucky in regards to that. I can't think of a lot of times where there's been any moments where I really felt unsafe or threatened cycling.
One time sticks out particularly.
Well, there are so many, whether it be the random honks that really, are just to try and startle you, cars crowding you.
Get off the road, get onto the sidewalk.
I was riding along College towards the university from downtown, and someone rolled down their window and yelled at me really aggressively that I should get on the sidewalk.
I was biking up the Broadway Bridge where I was using the pedestrian lane, and I came up behind a lady and I dung my bell a few times, and she was walking right in the center and I couldn't get by, so I got off my bike and I dung my bell a few more times and went to go walk up beside her, and she was really aggressive to me and then turned to me and said, "Well, you're not supposed to be here and all I'm trying to do is walk."
One time in particular, this gentleman had honked at me when he was behind me, and there's 2 lanes of traffic even, so he could have been in the left. And then he pulled up beside me at the next stoplight and yelled and said I should get to the side of the road if I didn't want to get a $150 ticket.
There was one moment I was cycling down 108th and I was going to be turning right eventually, and the guy behind me in like a big truck and just like leaned on his horn and started swearing at me.
But the worst one, I think, is when I had my daughter on the back, and I had her bike in my basket, and a bus clipped my daughter's bicycle.
Oh.
And we were right by the bus terminal, and I went up to the lady's window, and I said, "You just hit my bike." And instead of being apologetic, the bus driver got mad at me and said I was swerving into her lane, whereas I'm in the only lane there is.
So I yelled back fairly aggressively that it's called a sidewalk, and that's where you're supposed to walk, and cyclists are meant to be on the street.
I'm not allowed to do that. Maybe you should go back to driving school.
And I was like, well, it's too bad you're having a shitty day and feel the need to do this.
And when someone yells at you, you don't really know what to say, but I know the bylaws quite well, and I know that there's nothing like that. There's no $150 ticket for biking on the road, but I never have time to actually retort. So he sped away, and then I start speeding after him, and you're always left with that really unsatisfied feeling.
It was a little frustrating and kind of ruined my day.
And I was like, okay, can we have this conversation? Because if I was riding up on the street, you wouldn't want me there either if you were in a vehicle behind me. And so now I'm here trying to use the sidewalk, and you don't want me here either. So if you don't want me in either of those places, where can I be?
Does any of this sound familiar to you? What about in a different context? Have you ever been in another situation where you were antagonized for simply existing? Maybe you've been struggling to be taken seriously at your profession because your appearance does not conform to industry standard. Maybe you're treated like a threat because the color of your skin represents a mistrusted minority. Maybe society has misused laws against you out of systemic hate for something they think that you represent. For people who may normally have privilege, bicycling in a predominantly car-driving city is one of the easiest ways to experience oppression. The city was not made with cyclists in mind, and we are often punished for not fitting into the current infrastructure. I hope that our experiences as cyclists may serve as an example that despite antagonism and maybe even some repression from a culture that's not quite ready for us, we can have compassion for all as we continually choose the things that we identify with and that make us most happy.
I grew up on a bicycle.
Originally, I got back onto a bicycle about 4 years ago out of necessity.
I cycle every day. I own a car as well. I like cycling.
It's the best way of transport. It's the easiest. You can get most places really quickly. At least growing up, it would take me an hour to get to the big city by car, and it would take the same amount of time on a bicycle, just because from my village you could just cut through the woods.
As I was having to ride a bike, I started to enjoy it more.
Because if you can find ways to make things that you have to do during your day enjoyable, then it's kind of like a loophole in having fun, living a life. So being able to commute and get groceries, go to friends' places and turning those events that would normally be annoying and driving into something that's fun, I think kind of makes your entire day a lot more enjoyable.
It's the best way to get around any place, and it's really freeing. It feels good. It's the best part of my day. I get to wake up and be on my bike in the sunrise and get to bike home in the sunset.
Keeps me active and healthy, keeps me happy. I feel like every time I'm on a bike and I'm riding around, I just feel great. And sometimes when I'm in a car and I'm stuck in traffic and things are going super slow, I just wish that I was on my bike.
For me, it's selfish purposes. I find it very good for my physical and mental health and for my conscience as well, because I see the environmental impact that just that one decision has, and I can't in good conscience drive my car for every little trip.
I ride year-round. I ride for health. I ride for being outside.
Which is also a benefit, is like you get to see so many pretty things when you're cycling. You get to see like nature, and you get to be outside, and it's just like your morning commute is also so much fun.
You see somebody in a car, you wave, and that's about it. You see somebody on a bike or a skateboard or something like that, you'll stop and have a conversation.
But then busy or seemingly really busy streets like 51st Street, which I used to ride to work on every single day, people would move over and give me lots of room. So there's lots of reasons to still cycle. There's more good times than bad times.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. Basically, that's it.